print, email, Facebook, Twitter, more. It's not just about the money, millennials say, in a time when tales of corporate greed and misconduct abound. Is it any wonder young people's confidence in business ethics has plunged? This year's annual Deloitte Millennial Survey shows Generation Y's opinion of business motivation and ethics is at the lowest point in 3 years. However, despite feeling pessimistic about their economic future, the survey found money was not the sole motivation for the age group that makes up 50% of Australia's workforce. Millennials not feeling it. Nearly a fifth of 24 to 35-year-olds surveyed in 2018 said reputation for ethical behaviour, diversity and inclusion, as well as workplace well-being were important when choosing an employer. But, according to Deloitte Australia's Chief Operating Officer, David Hill, millennials see a gap between their priorities and those of employers. The view is that you should be about profit and purpose, whereas essentially coming through in this survey, millennials feel that many of their employers are all about profit, he said. This year's survey saw millennials' view of business motivations plunge to its lowest level in 3 years. Less than half of those surveyed believe businesses behave ethically, while 83% of those surveyed believe businesses focus more on their bottom line over the good of greater society. The concept of corporate social responsibility has been around a long time, Mr. Hill said. I think what millennials are doing is cutting through the rhetoric to what they see as the action. Mr. Hill pointed to the conduct issues currently in the spotlight, particularly in social media, where this generation is very adept. This is a generation, if they see a disconnect between the form and the substance, they'll call it. What would convince a millennial to stick around? As in last year's survey, millennials were found to have a low sense of loyalty to their current employer, but inclusion, flexibility in the workplace and a positive work culture are an important determinant. As employers, if we can embrace things like flexibility, truly live diversity and inclusion, live the values that matter to the millennials, then they're likely to be more loyal, more confident and more trusting, Mr. Hill said. Nick Tucker, a psychologist and analyst at Aon Hewitt, a human resources consultancy firm, believes expectations of millennials are a product of age, not generation. People have different priorities at different life stages in their career. For example, when you're starting out and establishing your career, the focus is career progression, the focus is pay, the focus is getting that next step, Mr. Tucker said. He said employers need to understand employees' values to encourage loyalty. So the idea is then to go above and beyond. One of the common ways you can achieve that is by connecting that employee to the greater purpose.